For Poland Daily News, I'm Phil Goss. Polish President Andrzej Duda spoke with his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping. Among topics were bilateral cooperation regarding the trade gap, where the Polish deficit reaches €25 billion, infrastructure buildup necessary for ferry trains running from China to Europe through Poland, and cooperation between China and Central and Eastern European countries. The Polish president also mentioned the Chinese COVID-19 vaccine from SINOPHARM. The Polish president spoke highly of Chinese efforts in making the COVID-19 vaccine a global public good, adding that Poland is willing to deepen cooperation with China in the fight against COVID-19. Poland celebrates March 1st as the Day of Banished Soldiers. After World War II, Poland was left in the Soviet sphere of influence. Those who fought against communist rule were often tortured, executed, and buried in unmarked mass graves, where the remains still lie in most cases. Today's celebrations remind us of the execution of the Freedom and Independence Association leaders. The association was a Polish underground movement that worked with Western allies to provide information from occupied Poland and protect people hunted by communists. Communist authorities rounded up the leaders and, after a show trial, shot them in the back of their heads on March 1, 1951. The victims' bodies were buried in secret to erase all memory of these people. State authorities took part in a commemoration ceremony at the cemetery where the soldiers' bodies were collectively buried. Archaeologists found, exhumed, and identified many bodies in one sector of Warsaw's Powązki Cemetery. Fellow combatants of the fallen, banished soldiers gathered in this symbolic place today. For the living, it was crucial to accord their fallen comrades full military honors. For decades, such recognition was unthinkable. They believed that through their toil and sacrifice, even through their deaths, they were sowing the seeds of freedom that would bear fruit in the future. These soldiers saved the dignity of the Polish army. It is no accident that today they are on the banners of the operational forces and territorial defense forces.
Oddziałów wojsk operacyjnych, Wojsk Obrony Terytorialnej.
What had been an unmarked collective grave where communists buried heroes of the anti-Soviet underground is now a national shrine. The Institute of National Remembrance continues to work toward finding unmarked mass graves and establishing individual graves for all victims. After several years of excavation work, it was possible to identify some of the anti-communist underground soldiers' remains. We must build a great national pantheon of glory. Each of these soldiers who lived through repressions and persecutions, who fell victim, deserves at least to have a gravestone with their name on it. Many people volunteered to search for the remains of the fallen soldiers, which it was discovered lay under the cemetery pathways. People walked over their bodies completely unaware. We found the remains of my father, Rear Admiral Stanisław MIESZKOWSKI, in this meadow. The message is passed down from one generation to the next. I came here to remember my uncle who fought in the Warsaw Uprising and the others who were murdered. The Ministry of Health announced 4,786 new infections and 24 coronavirus deaths. According to the data, the epidemic curve is rising. Today's numbers are significantly higher than the statistics from last week. Since the beginning of the pandemic, over 1,700,000 coronavirus infections have been recorded in Poland, where COVID-19 has been fatal for over 43,000 people. So far, over 3,330,000 vaccine doses have been administered. Almost 2,150,000 people received the first and almost 1,187,000 the second dose. 2 employees of the Ukrainian embassy in Poland, a driver and an attaché for consular affairs, were caught red-handed trying to cross the border from Ukraine into Poland with a van filled with contraband cigarettes, gold, and cash. Ukrainian border guards detained both individuals pending a Ukrainian State Security Service investigation. The van was carrying 8,826 cartons of cigarettes, 16 kilograms of gold, and large sums of cash, including $140,000, €67,200, and 11,600 Polish zloty. A group of 5 people coordinated the smuggling scheme. Both current and former employees of the embassy teamed up with a military official serving at Zakarpattia Oblast, bordering Poland, to arrange the smuggling operation. Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba posted information about the incident on Facebook on March 1st, stating, "During my tenure as minister, we will not stay silent about such shameful cases, nor will we cover up for those involved." Kuleba recalled both employees from the embassy but has not yet fired them. The ministry has launched a disciplinary inquiry, separate from the police's own investigation. "Corruption is everywhere where people are," Kuleba said. "The only difference is whether you tolerate it or not. In the foreign ministry, we do not." For Poland Daily News, I'm Phil Goss. Good night.